All right, we are officially headed out of Arkansas and down to Texas, but I have a slight confession to make. You see, when it comes to me and road trips, I have a tiny bit of an obsession. And that obsession is with random dinosaurs on the side of the road. Why? This is my new friend, Tracy, Tracy the Triceratops. You know, I'd say Tracy is pretty cool. In fact, you're inside of them right now, see? Ooh, there's the inside of Tracy. Wow, so interesting, am I right? But yeah, random dinosaurs on the side of the road. They're a lot more common than you'd expect. If you've ever driven across the US, you've probably driven by a random dinosaur on the side of the road. It gets more common as you go into the plains and the Midwest and further west and everything, just because, you know, you can actually find dinosaurs there, so it's pretty interesting. But I'm just in the middle of Arkansas, and there's just dinosaurs, and I love it. I love it so much. You can't be mad at that. You just can't. Yeah, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, let's get back on the road because we gotta get to Texas. It's not too far of a drive, about 4 or 5 hours, give or take, but I'm leaving a little late, and I'd prefer to not have to sleep in my car tonight. Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with sleeping in my car, but I just want to try and get from Arkansas straight down to Texas in one go. I'm taking a bit of a scenic route though, so it might take a little longer. And by the way, I've driven a little bit of it so far, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And speaking of it being beautiful, you actually get to see it now, like because of editing and stuff, yeah. We are now in Oklahoma, the home of the Oaks. Okay, so slight problem. The charger that I am supposed to go to be able to reach my uncle's house, it's broken. Yeah, the closest charger is just barely close enough. So I am now driving without air conditioner. At least it's not crazy hot. It's like 83 degrees and cloudy. So it's not horrible. Yeah. I've officially made it to a charger with 12 miles left. That was stressful. I never want to do that again. Alright. For some reason my map had me going to a charger that wasn't working. And if there's one thing you should know about Oklahoma, it's that there's nothing here. And the problem with that is there's also not a lot of chargers, at least on the route I was taking, except for the one, which wasn't there. But thankfully, with 5% remaining on my battery, I made it to a charger. But I guess that kind of also raises the question of why am I taking a road trip across the US in an EV? EVs get a lot of bad press, especially whenever it comes to long distance driving. A lot of people talk about the difficulties of charging an EV on long distances, and in some cases it can be a problem. I mean, I just demonstrated that, but 99.9% of the time it's not. Kind of like how finding a gas station isn't really a problem most of the time. In most EVs, they'll actually plan the route around the chargers, so in most situations, you're not really gonna run out of charge. But then people will also bring up how long it takes to charge. And the truth is, I've been sitting here for 5 minutes, and I've already charged 100 miles. I mean, it's slower than filling up a tank, but not by much. And I'd say the positives of taking an EV on a road trip far outweigh the negatives, as shown by, well, the fact that this is where I've been sleeping. Have you ever slept in your car? It's not the most comfortable, but one of the nice things about EVs is you can just leave them on because it's a battery. And so I can just leave the AC on overnight, put my back seat down, blow up an air mattress, and, you know, basically an RV. And it doesn't take that much battery either to run the AC all night. It's enough to where you have to keep track of it, but not by much. And if you compare that to leaving a gas car idling all night, well, you can run into problems with the engine overheating, and you burn a lot more gallons leaving the engine idling than you do just an EV. The other thing a lot of people don't think about is I was stressed about finding a charger, But to be specific, I was stressed about finding a fast charger. If at any point I felt like I wasn't going to make it, I could have always just pulled over, found an outlet, plugged my car in, and stayed the night there. I mean, whoever I borrowed the outlet from might have been upset at me in the morning, but it would have been enough to charge my car probably about 100 miles by the morning. And if I really wanted to, I could have just found an RV park and plugged in there, and they have much faster chargers to where I can just pay a little bit of money, plug in, and stay the night there. An EV can be turned into an RV very quickly. And while I'm talking about the trip itself, I am basically living out of my car, and if you've ever thought of doing something like this, honestly, I'd encourage you to do so because it's a blast. I'd recommend some privacy covers and taking as many safety precautions as possible, but it's completely doable. I mean, I've done a trip like this at least once every year for the past 3 years, and I have not spent that much money. I think in total, I've maybe spent like $2,000, which is absolutely nothing. In fact, I did the math, and for last year's trip, I spent less money in that month on the trip than I did on rent for my apartment. That broke my brain a little bit. So yeah, despite all the flack that EVs get on long distance driving, they make an amazing road trip car, and I am happy that I'm taking this trip in an EV, even if I do occasionally, very rarely, get slightly stressed about the fact that I might run out of range. But once again, all I need is an outlet. Well, after a somewhat stressful and fairly warm drive, I have made it, and I'm going to sleep now. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe for daily uploads, and I'll see you tomorrow.